introduce yourself, tell us who you are, how old you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do.
All right, so I'm Dan Sadler. I'm 42, originally from the UK, in the middle of the UK near Nottingham, and I work for a software company who do solutions for consumer goods customers. So yeah, a lot of sort of IT computer-based work.
During that time when you first came on board, obviously you went through the very first 90-day program, the accelerated method program. Why was it that you joined? What was life like back for you then? And like, what problems were you facing, and just how did you feel overall?
First things first, I kind of got to a point where um, I guess one of the main triggers was you start looking back at photos of yourself and not really liking looking at what you see, and you tend to notice it more when you look at photos than you do just looking at the mirror day to day. And I guess that was what really sort of set me off, and got me starting to think about doing something different. Because again, if I was to trace it back right to where it very first started, it was I have a 6-year-old, and so when I knew she was going to be born, I kind of took a decision there and then. I wanted to get a bit fitter and be more able to run around with her, and not be that dad that just sits there and can't keep up or play with her or do whatever else. And so, way back then, I took up running. Started very, very basic, went through doing kind of did a 10K, did a half marathon, carried on with running, and then we chose to move to the US with work back in January of 2019. We moved over, and when I got here, I very quickly realised it'd be very easy for things to continue to go the wrong way, because it was too easy to eat food that wasn't particularly good for me, and it could have ended badly. So kind of took again, realised I needed to do perhaps more than I was doing. Just running wasn't getting me there and doing what I wanted to do. So started to work with a personal trainer, and that did me some good in that I got fitter and probably stronger, but didn't really sort of shift the weight. And, I guess some of the things I was doing, some of the behaviours I had were perhaps not, as you would say, not serving me. And ultimately, after a while, I realised that one, I wasn't enjoying it. It just wasn't. I wasn't enjoying working the way I was working with the people I was, because it wasn't. I dreaded it rather than thinking, this is something I want to do. And so I went away for a holiday. While I was away on the holiday, I'd seen one of your Facebook ads pop up. Your message spoke to me, because clearly you're targeting people like myself at the kind of position in life I'm at, and it made a lot of sense to me in terms of wanted to lose weight, wanted to feel better, wanted to have more energy, wanted to get better sleep. All of those things, I guess all of those were problems that to a greater or lesser extent I recognised I had got. And certainly when I listened to your videos and started looking at some of your testimonials, it made a hell of a lot of sense.
How bad did it get when you hit that moment of like, right before you and I crossed paths, where you were just like, I'm done dealing with this?
One of the areas where I was seeing benefit was because the Beltline is like I'm trying to think how to describe it, but it's a pedestrianised old railway. And so, you can go down there with bikes, scooters, all those sorts of things. And so when my daughter wanted to go scooting, I could go down there with her. She'd be on a scooter. I could run along with her. I could keep up with her, and that was great, because from that perspective, I'd done what I'd set out to do. But still, despite all that, despite everything I'd done, I still wasn't happy with what I saw in the mirror and the results I was getting from that perspective, the way clothes fit, all those sorts of things. And as I say, I started to work with the trainer, and we made progress in terms of strength and all the rest of it. But I just, we'd gone away for a holiday for a week, and we were going back, and my wife was working with the same trainers, and we were both talking on the way back. I said, I just don't want to go back to it, because it's, it was kind of constant pushing harder. You got to do more, got to do this, and it's just, do you know what? I'm too old for this shit.
Even with putting in that valid effort, that way and method you were doing, you saw it not being a sustainable thing, especially where the point of where you were at in your life.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was training with them a couple of times a week. They were saying, "Oh, we'll do these things outside." And trying to build up the energy to do the things that we're asking on top. It just wasn't motivated, wasn't feeling it. It just didn't feel like I was getting what I needed to get from it.
What toll did it take on your life personally and professionally to be operating in that state that you were in at that moment?
Part of it is, get to the end of the day, tired, don't feel like doing anything, sit down and watch TV, not really playing with my daughter after work, or things like that. And at the weekend, still not having loads of energy, so I was doing a bit more, but missing out on doing some of the things I wanted to do, or even getting involved with hobbies, things like that. I didn't feel like I got the energy at the end of the day, and so that was a big part of it. And then, as I say, it's just the little things. But my daughter is going to grow up once, so you look back at those photos with her, and you look back at them, and you don't like them. That's pretty hard. And it's the little things. I remember there was a photo I shared with you from a few years ago. Just we'd been on a beach holiday, and there was me and my daughter on the beach. And I hadn't got my shirt on. I got hold of her, and I look at the photo, and what I see is not a photo of me and her. It's the photo of me looking not great with my shirt off. And so that's not the memory I want to have from that photo. The memory I want to have from that photo is I was having fun with my daughter on the beach. Do
you remember of the results that you created for yourself within just that first 90?
From memory, I think I lost about 28 pounds in that first 90. Straight away, you kind of notice just differences in your appearance. And it's the things that you don't expect to realise. I learned, having looked back at photos, apparently I had a fat face. That's not something I necessarily picked up on before. But you look back at photos, you're like, crap, yeah, I really did. And that wasn't the area I was focused on at all. That wasn't what I was looking to change. The other bit is I did feel like I got more energy. I was, there was more get up and go. I was sleeping better. I was just generally feeling better.
More energy, more get up and go. Where did you notice that specifically?
Post work, rather than just sitting down, I can go and do something. And we moved into a house that I would call a fixer-upper. It needs plenty doing on it, and coming home at night and from finishing work and going and getting on with some of those things, or spending some time with my daughter. My daughter wants to go out and do this, that, or the other after school. That's fine. Okay, we'll go and do that. Or and then at the weekends as well, the same. Either just being able to crack on with those jobs, or get out and have a family day, go to the beach, run around my daughter, do whatever it is. It's I guess the what is less important, but I just feel like I've been doing more as a result.
The 28 pounds down in that first 90, energy there, get up and go. You're able to do more stuff with your daughter, your family. But even still, that determination in you didn't stop. And you said, you know what? I'm really happy with where I've gotten, but I'm not done yet. I want to take this thing to another level. And so if you can share with me, you entered the next level in here, which is known as the 180. What has life been like for you after entering from the 90 to the 180 to now?
I carried on losing weight. I carried on sort of getting better, getting stronger. You notice difference in your kind of physical physique. Like my arms are completely different to what they used to be. There's a lot more definition, muscle in them. Weight wise, at the peak point, I'd lost probably just over 50 pounds. I'm probably a bit down from that at the moment, just after Christmas.
Wow.
But I know what I need to do to undo that again, and I know how to get there. So I don't sit there worrying if I gain 5 pounds, for example. I just know what I need to do to crack on and fix it. Generally, I just feel happier and more comfortable being myself.
What other realms of progress have you really seen unfold for yourself after going through the 180?
I would say my mindset's probably shifted quite a lot. I went from not really knowing how to where to start or what I was doing wrong, to knowing how to move forward, knowing how to make progress, knowing when I'm doing something that I shouldn't be, and what to do about it, after the fact. And I guess I just make now I'll probably make a lot more informed decisions than what I did. And if I'm doing something that I know isn't necessarily going to serve me, that's okay. I know that, and I equally I know what I need to do the next day and the next few days to counter that. So I would say they were probably the bigger things.
To give a visual to what you're sharing, this is 50 pounds down, like you said. Do you know how many inches you've dropped?
I've dropped numerous trouser sizes. I want to say probably 6 inches off my waist, something like that.
Wow. Wow. 6 inches off your waist. Obviously, you notice more, especially in your jawline. Things are dramatically
Yeah.
different. 50
Yeah.
pounds down. How has all of this from start date to now, what's been so different about this that has allowed you to stay and make the decision to stay as long as you have?
First of all, I think one of the most important thing is, it really was kind of the whole package in terms of it's not just, here's an exercise regime. Here's an exercise regime. Here's the kind of food you should be eating. Here's some recipe options. Here's the kind of supplements you should be using. Here's when you should be eating and what frequency and all the rest of it. And it was that kind of overall package that yes, required various shifts in mindset and things that were quite different to what I was used to. But once you did them and you kind of trusted the process and started to see results quickly, that gave you some confidence. For me personally, having spent some time with a personal trainer and everything else, that helped me when I came into here, because it meant that not all the moves were foreign to me. And I'd already got the ability to do squats and things like that perhaps I'd never done before in my life. But when I got into those and when I started doing your workout frameworks and the way they're built up, the amount of time they required, they were good, because there weren't too much commitment. There were, I would say, 20 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the workout. Most days I didn't hate you. Some days I swore at you. But generally they were fairly measured. They didn't feel excessive, and you were always good at kind of do what you can, do the number of reps, do the weights you can do. It's not you're not trying to say you must do this with a 50-pound dumbbell or whatever else. It just gave you a framework you could follow. The second thing is, you as a coach and as a mentor are phenomenally good, from an encouragement and support perspective. You're there all the time. Any low points, you message, you come back to me. You've always been available. You've always helped, and your endless, boundless enthusiasm is just something else. I mean, where the hell you get it from, I'll never know.
My wife questions it every day.
But I sometimes wonder, what it would take to get you down and give you a bad day. I really do, because I can't imagine it happening.
The bad days do happen, man. I'm human, but like you said, we do a lot of mindset and shifting in here. So I've learned over the years how to counteract what would normally take a bad day and take its toll, and flip it on its head and flip the script. But by no means is every day happy clappy, but I'm able to manage the ones that aren't so good, and make them a little bit better.
One of the bits that I was most apprehensive about when sort of signing up was the kind of group approach. And I really wasn't sure I liked that, and I wasn't sure it was something that I felt would be an environment I would particularly enjoy. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a bloke. It's not necessarily natural to me to be sharing what I've been doing, progress photos, or I've lost X pounds this week, or posting selfies of myself on a regular basis. I mean, that was just completely alien to me. But you join the group. The minute you join, you send a little welcome video, and everybody sort of welcomes you to the group, and you join one of your weekly calls where some of the guys show up and start talking about the results they've managed to get for themselves, and all of a sudden you realize the things you hear in the promotional videos are not only real, but there are people here right now that are have already gained those results, and they might be 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead, 4 months ahead, whatever it might be, but you kind of see a bunch of people at different points of the journey who will reinforce and demonstrate to you that actually what Logan is telling you is real. And if you follow the process, it works. And here's the living proof all around you. That was great for me because, you know, from what really I felt was a big leap of faith, signing up. That straight away reassured me when I heard that within kind of 7 days of joining. And then equally, that same group of people all of a sudden become your cheerleaders and helpers and supporters. You know, they are super keen to encourage you and support you through what you're doing. You know, you get a win, they're the first people to congratulate you. And, you know, everyone's there to help each other through the good and the bad, or if somebody's got questions, you know, the rest of the group will chime in and try and help out, which again was huge.
Dan has been in the game for a little bit of time now. His first 90-day celebration is out there, and now he's coming up to the end of the 180, and he's, you know, lost 50 plus pounds. He's got the energy, everything in between. But during that time, he had apprehension of, like he shared, hey, am I going to enter a group of guys? So can you share from two perspectives? One, if a guy is on teetering, he just came across Logan Henry. He just came across accelerated method. No clue. He's on the fence, right? What would you say to him to get him over the fence of just that? And then let's say there's another guy that is gone through the 90, listened to what you said maybe from your other video and was like, Dan exactly was right. All the other guys was right. Now he's on the fence of like, do I take a step up and take things to another? What would you say to each of those men right now?
The question you have to ask those people is, you know, are you ready and willing to do something about it? And if you are, this is a great way of doing it, because, you know, you don't, it takes all the thought out of it. You just have to kind of commit, follow the process, learn a bit more about yourself, a bit more about your body, learn a bit more about nutrition, workouts, etc. But yeah, a lot of thinking's done for you. And all of a sudden, rather than trying to do this on your own and trying to figure out what you were doing right or wrong, Logan will help you through that. You know, and if a few weeks running that doesn't go well, he'll help you. He'll ask questions and say, all right, well, did this work? Did that work? You know, were you doing this? Were you doing that? And he'll try and almost like a diagnosis of what you may or may not be doing, and is everything right? Is it not right? And how do we tweak things? And that's worth a huge amount. If somebody sat here on the fence and genuinely wants to make a difference, genuinely wants to put in the effort, get off the fence, get on with it, because, you know, this guy gets results, and I've seen him do it to no less than 10 guys, probably more, and every single one of them has made progress and made solid, good progress. So what are you waiting for?